It's been my dream to come on the podcast. Been waiting for it. And
you are somebody that has made a tremendous impact in the solar space.
the reason I got into door-to-door was because,
Really?
yeah, it's the money we make in solar. Even if you're mediocre, you're still going to be making more than
The vast majority of people in San Diego, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people would do a lot for just to make 100 grand. Solar, if you just install 2 accounts a month,
Yeah.
maybe even 1.
I've had setbacks, but still I've done really well. I still made multiple 6 figures that year.
That's a lot, bro.
We live in a country where even if things go badly, that we can rebound from that.
Where else can you go, knock doors and generate 10 grand out of thin air?
Yeah.
You've been through a lot of adversity, a lot of challenges. People sometimes think like, oh, well, I'm not good, so then I'm not gonna do it.
There's so many things out there to sell. That's what people should remember. I was so broke. My buddies made fun of me. I would donate plasma just to like buy my next meals.
That is the piece that I love about you. And winners maybe feel fear for a few seconds, while losers feel it for months and months and months and months. Which one do you want to be?
That's the only option, yeah.
What were some principles you followed that have allowed you to be very, very consistent?
First, I hit the numbers I need to,
Come on.
and then
Welcome to the VIP, the Valor Impact Podcast. My name is John Soriano. We believe that you can have it all, that you can be successful in all areas of your life, your faith, your family, your fitness, your finance, that you do not have to choose between one or the other. And as you listen in, take notes, take it all in, ask yourself, how can I apply this today? How can I go out there and execute today? Because we're gonna teach you a wide range of things, from sales, from leadership, to finances, to mindset, to even how to have success in sales and in your marriage. And my only ask is that you like this video, you subscribe to it, you share it with somebody in the sales industry, and that you also ultimately go out there and execute on everything that you want. Welcome to the Valor Impact Podcast. Today I have someone that I've gotten to know really well the last two or so years, Taylor Armstrong, otherwise known as the Solarpreneur. Taylor right now, he currently actually has the largest podcast in the solar space. He has the most downloads than any other podcast in the solar industry right now. He's recognized as a great voice in our space. But he's also been in solar over a decade, door-to-door as a whole, for 13 years. He's a husband. He's a father. He has over 600 career installs. He's a builder of people, builder of teams. And so, Taylor, such an honor to have you here.
thank you. Yeah, I was telling you, it's been my dream to come on the podcast. Been waiting for it. And I always thought it was because, you're like, oh, conflict of interest. He's got a podcast. We can't.
No, we're doing it. We're doing the Solarpreneur Valor Impact podcast
Collaboration,
collab. Come on,
Finally.
let's go. I mean, honestly, your podcast, the whole reason we call it the Valor Impact Podcast, because it's just, we want to make an impact. But you are somebody that has made a tremendous impact in the solar space. I know that I'm sure many people hit you up saying, Taylor, man, the podcast you did with this person or something you said on this podcast, it like changed their sales game. It maybe helped them. They wanted to quit, but they kept going. And so I know you're someone that has made a huge impact in this space. And so I want to honor you for that.
Thank you.
But dude, tell us about you. Tell us about your background. Tell the viewers that maybe don't know you, just your background, how you got into solar, or even what inspired you to start the podcast.
Yeah.
And how you've been consistent all these years. But just give us a quick kind of background story on you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anyone that's seen my podcast has probably heard the story many times. So apologize if this is like the 20th time hearing it. But I grew up in a small town in southern Utah. I did door-to-door in pest control. The first did a summer of that. Then I did a 2-year church mission. I did another summer pest control. And for me, originally, the reason I got into door-to-door was because, I don't know if I've told this part as many times, but I struggled just with I was a super shy kid. I hated talking to people, but I knew I wanted to go on this church mission where I would have to be talking to everybody and talking about God and all that. So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm doing this and I'm like terrified to talk to strangers right now, I need to do something out of my comfort zone and figure out how to kind of break out of this shell. So that's when I first heard, you get the pest control recruiters going to the campus, giving you free pizza. And I was just super broke. I would do anything for some food because I was a musician. I didn't even have time for like a job on campus. So I'm like, sweet, I'll go get some free pizza and hear about this opportunity. And then they're just talking all the numbers.
So they got you, huh? They got you with pizza.
Yeah,
Man.
I'm a anyone that knows me, I'm a sucker for free food. And
$10 investment went a long way for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was so broke. My buddies made fun of me, but we would go to places and I had so little money. I would donate plasma just to like buy my next meals. And of course, my parents would have to help here and there when I was going to school.
Sure.
But we would go on like school trips, and I had so little money that I would take like people's leftover food just so I don't have to like buy my own food at, trips like that. But anyways, I just got into it from that, and
it was pest control.
Pest control.
Right,
yeah.
that was the pizza for pest control. Okay.
Yep. And then I did a summer of that. I went on the church mission. Went and did another summer after. Helped a buddy kind of start his company, and that didn't go super well. And so after this second summer, when I was back from my mission, I had a buddy that I had done the mission with that he went and did solar for the summer. He was thinking of pest control. He ended up doing solar. And then we compared just like our bank accounts and how much we made over the summer. And he had made like 3 times as much as I did in the summer doing solar. And then on top of that, I asked him how much he was knocking, because in pest control, it's a grind. You're out there from like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. And so I asked him, and he's like, oh, we're probably knocking, maybe like 5 hours a day. And then we're in appointments and stuff like that. And I'm like, you're telling me you made this much money and you didn't even have to knock 12 hours a day? He's like, no, half the time I was like in AC and houses, just telling people about solar. I'm like, bro, you're kidding me? So I'm like, okay, all right, you got me. I'll go try it. And then went out and tried it, and just saw the lifestyle.
2016.
Yep.
Right. 16. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So came out and tried it, and
in San Diego.
Yeah, we were up in like Inland Empire first, and then.
But you've been in California all your 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I love, it's funny because you hear so many people say this market's tapped out, California is hard.
Yeah.
But yet you're someone that's been consistently in this market for 9 years.
Yeah.
And some people, they're like, oh no, I don't want to sell anymore. I'm going to go to, harder markets. But really this market is the one where you solve the biggest problem, right?
For
People
sure.
have a huge need. And also it's proven concept, right? Like you don't have to worry about people being like, I don't believe solar, because they see it on multiple homes.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
props to you for your consistency. What would you say has helped you be so consistent? Because I'm sure there were many times where you could have quit.
Yeah.
There are many times where you could have maybe gone back to pest control or taken another sales job. But what has allowed you to stay planted in one market for 9 years?
Yeah, well, I would just say, really, for me, it's kind of the only option. Like, I came out here from Utah. I have no connections out here. I have no family. And so we have kids now, we have a house, all that. So especially now, it's like I got no other option.
Yeah.
So when you're forced to do something,
That mortgage,
that's the only option. Yeah. So anyone, go make yourself broke again, right? Go buy a house, and then you're forced to work hard. So that's been a big thing. And it's just, like I was telling you earlier, I was a musician. That's what I wanted to be, going to college and everything, going to school. And I think back to that, we were practicing like 3-4 hours a day. I was playing percussion, and my dream was to become like a college music professor. And, these people, they're fighting. You got 50 people fighting for one job out in the middle of Iowa or whatever. And then they're going to make like, maybe 40, 50 grand in a year being a college professor. So I just think back and I'm like, okay, the alternative, I can either show up for myself, show up for my family, or I can go take like another job where, they tell me clock in, clock out, and I make what they tell me I'm going to make. And so every time I'm facing, demotivation or not wanting to work, not wanting to be consistent, I just think back to that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm super blessed to be out here, like living in one of the best cities on the planet, the weather, and I get to choose my own schedule. So I can either be consistent, show up, or I can face the alternative, and that's, go back and take whatever other job. Because really, you think about it, the money we make in solar, even if you're a pretty mediocre solar guy, you're still going to be making more than
the vast
like
majority
pretty much any other job
in San Diego. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of people would do a lot for just to make $100,000.
I know.
In solar, if you just install 2 accounts a month, maybe even one, in this market, you can make 6 figures.
Yeah.
Now, what inspired you to start the podcast? Like, how long ago did you do that, and what was the inspiration behind it?
I think I started that in I think it was like end of 2018, And I would always had the idea, because I'm the type of person that I love, like if you get me into something, then I'm going to do everything. I'm going to like buy courses. I'm going to like go watch YouTube videos. Like we have these, we have the rock, paper, scissors competition that we do at our correlation sometimes. So yesterday I lost the rock, paper, scissors competition. I'm like, it's so annoying. I never win this freaking game.
You've never won?
I think I got like second one time, but no, I never won.
And then second was the closest I ever got it.
So I'm like, you know what? So yesterday I was like so frustrated. I'm like, ChatGPT, like, how can I win rock, paper, scissors? I'm like sick of like
There is actually a small strategy. There actually is. I've heard about it, but anyways.
Yeah. And so I don't know. That's just like how I've been. Like, because I'm not a person that's naturally good at things. I feel that I have to work harder than an average person to be like decent at something. So that's just how I was in solar too. I was never the best guy. I was never a top performer, but I was a guy that I want to like learn as much as I can to try to improve myself, be better. And I feel that that's been one of like my superpowers, I guess, is even though I'm not naturally good at things, I'm extremely motivated to learn, to like improve. And so I think that was the motivation for the podcast. I'm just like, well, I hear people doing big numbers. The company I was with at the time, we had some, decent people, but nobody that was like doing insane numbers. So I'm like, man, I want to like be able to connect with people from these other companies that I hear are doing really big numbers. And I don't know if you knew this, but my first guest was Ashton, actually.
Really? No,
and he had turned me down. I had invited him. I'm like, hey, can I take you out to lunch, dinner, and just like pick your brain? Because I always heard that.
Was it our old office?
Yeah.
I actually remember that because I was there.
Yeah.
That's when I met you. That was your first episode? I had no idea.
Yeah. One of the first I might have done. Yeah.
Maybe that was the second time you had him on. Because I think that was like 2021 actually. Because if you're saying you started in 2018, it would have been. Okay. That would have been like the second time you had him on.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so he was one of my first guests because he turned me down to like, he's like, oh no, I don't have time. He shut me down. Yeah. But then I was like, well, what if I approach him in the form of like a podcast? Say, hey, I know you're a busy guy, but we can feature you on this podcast. It's going to go out to the whole industry. And then I approached it from that angle, and sure enough, he's like, okay, we can do that. Wow. And so I'm like, hey.
Talk about a lesson in value proposition, right? When people tell you no, they're not really saying no. They're just saying that you haven't brought me enough value.
Yeah, exactly.
The moment you're like, oh, pocket, now is value, right? Yeah. Same conversation, same questions.
Yeah.
What changed? Just the value proposition. Yeah. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah. So from there, I got a lot of value from that.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, okay, this is kind of cool. And people started to recognize it. There wasn't really anything like that at the time when I first started. And I think that's part of why Ashton shut me down. Because at that time, like 2018, people were pretty guarded. They didn't want to share their outside of their company. They're like, oh, we're going to keep what we do within our company.
Right.
And so I think my podcast was kind of the first one that, started reaching out to people, and people started sharing more.
What's your reach now?
Well, I would say it has gone down from what it was, back when solar and NEM2 and all that, we were getting more. Yeah. But I would say I'm averaging, 10 to 12,000 like downloads, views, what do you want to call it?
Yeah.
What do you want to call it?
That's a lot, bro.
So for considering the audience of solar, I'm like, okay, not bad.
One thing I love about your story, Taylor, is I see a principle of being consistent. I love you said something. You're like, hey, I wasn't the best at it, but I just went and worked hard. I had to work harder.
Yeah.
And I think people sometimes like that's such an underrated skill set. People sometimes think like, oh, well, I'm not good, so then I'm not going to do it. It's like, no. What you lack in skill, make up in work ethics.
Right.
And then what happens is over time you get better. And then now maybe you do have to work a little bit less to generate the same results, right? Obviously, the man you are today, you have to work less to make the income that you make today, where maybe 4 years ago, you had to work twice as hard to make the income you make today.
Right. And
so I wish more people understood that. And that is one thing I've admired just working with you the last 2 or so years is you're very consistent. Okay. Like I found out a few weeks ago, we were hanging out with your wife, and your wife's like, Taylor has not taken a Saturday off in years. And I don't know if that's factual, but to her, it was factual. To her, she's like, I have not seen my husband in a Saturday in years.
Yeah.
And then that hit me though. I was like, I asked her, I'm like, are you for real? Like, he hasn't taken a single Saturday off. She's like, no, he hasn't. And then, but I was like, that's so like, in some ways, I'm kind of like, Taylor, hang out with your family sometimes on Saturday. But also in other ways, I was like very wowed and I was like, that's crazy that he's been so consistent on Saturdays that to you probably wake up on Saturdays, you don't even think about it anymore. Like to you, it's not even a question. To you, it's so ingrained in you that you're like, nope, Saturday, I just go and knock for a few hours. Right. And so like, talk us through that. Like, tell us more on that whole, like, hey, I wasn't the best at it, but I went and worked hard. Like, what were some principles you followed that have allowed you to be very, very consistent? Like maybe even on the Saturday piece, like what do you do or what have you done to be like, nope, Saturday, every single Saturday, that's work.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think she partly says that because she's trying to like get me in trouble and have you be like, hey, tell them to take some time off, you know. Because I've definitely taken some Saturdays off, but anytime in town, if I'm in town, then yeah,
he's taken like 5 Saturdays off in 10 years, guys, and that to him, that's some Saturdays.
Yeah, but
that should be enough, Natalie. 5 Saturdays and one Saturday every 2 years, right?
yeah. If I'm out of town, you know, I'm not working. But no, I think just so you're asking like what principle or what's like
like what have you done to be so consistent all these years?
Okay,
that's what I hear about you. It's just like your kind of formula hasn't been anything elaborate or crazy. It's just been like, no, I've just been very consistent in a few things.
Yeah.
You know, I've worked the hours. I've worked from, you know, I always maximize prime time. I maximize Saturdays, probably holidays, right?
Yeah.
You know, maybe you've also stayed planted in one area, right? We see so often in this industry, people just go from area, thinking that the next area is a gold mine without realizing that no, the gold mine is actually in working your area.
Right.
And so you've done these things, whether you realize them or not, that have gotten you the success you have. So like, what are just some of those things from your perspective?
Yeah. I would just say not focus as much on the time because especially doing this now, coming on 10 years, it's like if I think, I have to go knock like 7-8 hours day after day after day, then yeah, it can be kind of like daunting at this point. I wouldn't say I've necessarily been the hardest worker every time, but I have been consistent just in the fact that I hit the numbers I need to. So it just goes back to, I think most door knockers know the principle of putting in the input, knowing your ratios, how many homeowners you need to talk to, how many appointments you need to get. And so I would say more than just being the hardest worker. Yeah, it's like hard work, but also knowing the numbers like that. Because when I go out in an area, instead of thinking, I got to be out here for the next 6 hours or whatever, I just think, okay, I'm going to go out and have 10 conversations or whatever number I know I need to hit for that day. And, you know, we have the whole little tally app. I'll just be checking it off. So I make it more a game of, okay, I'm going to talk to this amount of people. And I'll have some days where, like, if I'm not feeling it, then I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to go at least talk to this amount of people. It's that, I know you've probably heard guys like Mike O'Donnell talk about this, just the whole mini habits thing, where if you don't feel like working out, at least go show up to the gym and do one push-up. And then chances are you're probably going to do more than one push-up if you put in the effort. So I just remember the same thing.
Committing to just say, I'm going to talk to one person.
Yeah.
But then after you talk to that one person,
you're like, okay,
I'm going to go do another one.
Already out here. Might as well do another one. So yeah, even on days where I feel like this is the last thing I want to do is be out here knocking, I'm like, okay, well, I made the commitment. I know I need to at least talk to this many homeowners, and I'll go hit that number, even if it's say 6 homeowners or whatever on a day where I'm just like, whatever. If I hit the 6, then chances are I'm going to do at least a few more. Or if I'm really not feeling it, then at least I know I hit the 6. I'll usually have booked at least one appointment by then. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, you know, some days it's just going to be whatever, but you at least do the minimum output where you know you're going to like get the results that you need. Yeah. So that's how I've treated it, is just like kind of like a marathon. There's going to be times where you're sprinting, but in order to win the marathon, just keep doing those little things day after day after day. And, you know, it's like the podcast too. There's days where I feel like I don't want to do a podcast at all, but you know, I pay like editors. I have like my assistants that go and edit it, and they'll be constantly hitting me up. Hey, do you have the podcast for tomorrow? And I'll get home 10 o'clock at night and be like, oh my gosh, they're bugging me about a podcast for tomorrow. All right, I guess I got to record it. So there's be times where I'm like recording something at midnight just because I got them bugging me. I know I got to like give them the next podcast. So I think that goes, you know, the principle on that too is just, I think it's valuable to have people you're mentoring, people you're training, that you got to show up for. Because if you're going out with someone to an area, if you got people on your team, there's guys that are like, oh, I don't want to be a leader, I just want to go out and produce. But if you're leading someone, and if you need to show up for them, then it's like much more likely that they're going to show up, because you can't leave your guys hanging.
Yeah, I mean, accountability. I even love that example with your editors. In a way, you feel accountable to them. Yeah. Where you're like, I don't want to let them down, you know, especially if I said I was going to do something, right? Like, hey, you're like, let my word be my word. Yeah. I love that. And, you know, would you say that, do you experience burnout from time to time?
Yeah, I mean, not like, I wouldn't say like burnout where I want to get out of solar or whatever,
Yeah.
but like,
How does Taylor Armstrong recharge? Like what have you done over the years to kind of keep yourself fresh, right? And kind of keep that axe sharp, right?
yeah.
Because I'm sure after a while you maybe start to feel dull, and especially 9 years in solar, you can kind of like, it's very repetitive, and so how do you keep yourself sharp?
I think the main thing is just going out. If I'm not feeling it, then I'll just go out with someone, right? I know it's because people say, oh, if you're knocking doors together, then yeah, you're technically not knocking half the amount of doors. But yeah, if I'm not feeling it brings me energy to go out and like help train someone to knock with them, to go out. So on days where I'm feeling like burned out or last thing I want to do is knock a door, I'll just go out with somebody.
Wow.
And then I don't know. I guess aside from showing up to knock doors and all that, it's just taking care of my body, going to the gym. I do like jiu-jitsu, and if I don't do those things, then I see motivation go down too. So I think just taking care of myself outside of showing up to work and learning new things. Like, we have correlations every week, and I'm still not, I feel like I've heard a lot of things being in this 10 years. I go to all the events, but I still like showing up because there's still new things you hear. Right. There's still new things you can go out and try.
Well, a dangerous place to be is the moment you think you've made it, or the moment you think you know everything, or the moment you think you need to stop being a student. That's when you put a ceiling over your life.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the hard part about being consistent, is that it's finding joy in the mundaneness of things.
Yeah.
And I think if the industry as a whole understood that more, it's like, no, you got to find joy. Everything's exciting in the beginning.
Yeah.
A marriage, first year is exciting. Oh, I'm married. Yeah. First time we get to live together. Wow. Woo, sex. Right. Like, but where the real challenge begins is when things start to get a little bit repetitive. Like, can you still find joy? Can you still innovate? Can you still find newness in the mundaneness, right? Even though you've been to 1,000 correlations by now, you still enter the correlation with the mindset of, there's something for me here.
Yeah.
There's something for me here. Or you go on a date night with your wife. You're like, even though we've been on hundreds and hundreds of dates, you're like, no, there's a new level of intimacy. There's a new level of connection that exists here. And I think that is the piece that I love about you. And whether you realize you've done it or not, is that you've adapted the mindset of like, no, I'm going to find joy in the trivial things. I'm going to find joy in the mundane things, right? I'm going to find joy in the repetitive tasks that I do over and over again. Because we do live in an instant gratification world where people want it now. That's why we see so often people going company to company to company to company to company, right? And it's like, and so, or industry to industry, or like the moment it gets a little bit hard, they're like, oh, I'm going to go over here instead. It's like, dude, stay planted.
Yeah.
Find joy in the suck. Find joy in the mundaneness. Find joy in the challenges. And so I love that about your story. And I actually want to ask you, in your 9 years, I know you've experienced a lot of setbacks.
Yeah.
I know you've experienced a lot of challenges. I know you've been, you thought 2018 was going to look like this, but it looked completely different, right? How have you been able to kind of stay on the path, even in the midst of a lot of challenges?
I think just going back to what we were talking about earlier, just thinking about the alternative of going to work, regular jobs. Because, I think before I came to Legacy here, I think I told you, but, one of my previous companies I was at, I didn't get paid out almost $100,000.
Wow. And
had a lot of setbacks, a lot of jobs that didn't go through. And then, of course, we had the whole transition from NEM2 to NEM3. It was, I had to figure out a lot of things. But I think just remembering that the alternative, even though that year I didn't get paid almost 6 figures, I still made, like multiple 6 figures that year. Yeah. Like even when I didn't get paid about $100,000. So I still just think, man, to still make that much money and do that well for myself, even when I didn't get paid this, what's a really big chunk of money. Yeah. Still super blessed and still really good opportunity. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, back to the drawing board. Yeah. I wish I could have stayed in opportunity like Legacy that I'm at now. So that's one of the things that maybe I wish I could have changed, is just find a solid opportunity. And because where I've jumped around, I've seen some people like, I've started before you did, John, but like you planted your roots, you built up fertile soil and all that. You built up leaders, and now you're leading hundreds of people, hundreds of other sales reps. So sometimes it's easy to compare myself, and I've gotten that trap sometimes. I'm like, man, how come I'm not like John? I've been in the industry longer than John. And same thing, Tyler, one of our managers here, I recruited him to solar, and now he's my manager. See. So I've had to kind of like humble myself sometimes, be like, okay, my journey's different. I can't compare myself to other people, and I've had setbacks, but still I've done really well. And like, look at all the things I have done. I've successful podcasts, been able to influence hundreds, if not thousands, of other sales reps. And even though, maybe I haven't had the level of success as other people, or haven't been able to like lead a massive division or anything like that yet.
Not yet. It's coming.
Yeah. It's coming.
Dude, I mean, hey, God says, there's something powerful in humility, man.
Yeah.
My mentor years ago, he taught me, John, if you honor what's not yours, one day God will send people that will honor what is yours.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I love your story of you've been very humble. You've been very, and that's such an underrated skill set, in this industry, just in life in general.
Yeah.
That you've been so humble that you could have gotten bitter from the industry as a whole, or bitter at choices or people or whatever. But yet here you still are, full of joy, still willing to be like, no, I'm going to give it another go.
Yeah.
And just believing that's going to lead to greener pastures,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and still have done well. So I just try to, not stop comparing myself with other people. Focus on how can I improve this year, this month, this quarter. And I've done well. Like maybe if I was making $0, that might be a different story. I probably would have been like, okay, solar stuff. But yeah, where I've seen success, where I've been able to lead others, just focus on the wins I have had. That's been for me just what's kept me going, even in tough times. Even in times where
you said something I want to go deeper on. You said what's kept you in the course is just thinking about the alternative.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, okay, I can either go work for myself, or I can go work for somebody else. Right. Yeah. I can either go bet on me, or I can go and bet on this secure company. Right.
Yeah.
Or a career, whatever. Like there's this meme I saw years ago on Instagram that stuck with me. It's like, it's like a photo of a lion in the wilderness, and then a photo of a lion in a cage. Right. Like at the zoo, essentially. Okay. And it's like, it says the one that's in freedom out in the wilderness, it says, hey, this person has no guarantees. He has no security, but he has all the freedom, right? The line in the cage was like, oh yeah, he has security, right? He's going to get fed every single day at a certain time, right? He has a lot of guarantees. He's going to get food and water and protection and shelter. He doesn't have to worry about hunters coming and killing him or other animals, right? But he has no freedom. And it's like, which one do you want to be?
Yeah.
Right. And then I know men like you and I, we're like, you know what? We would rather have no guarantees, no security, but have all the freedom, meaning like the world is out our hands. But but there's also no guarantees.
Yeah.
And I think a great way, something that I wish more people would do, and you did a mission. Where'd you do your mission?
Colombia. Yep.
Colombia, right? 2 years.
Yep.
Right. And, I love doing humanitarian work. Like, Legacy, once a year, we'll usually do humanitarian work. And I've been in South Africa, Costa Rica, Mexico, Thailand. I didn't do the Philippines, but I saw it. And I love these trips because it really grounds you, and it really reminds you of how fortunate we are.
Yeah.
And sometimes we live in our bubble and we think that like this is the world, but it's like, dude, we're the 1% of the 1%. The U.S. is 5% of the world population. Yeah. Right? If you're the poorest person in the U.S., is still doing better than the vast majority of the people in the world, right? Yeah. Like poor in other countries is way worse than poor here.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good for us to be reminded of that and to express, that's what gratitude is so big. I remember being in South Africa and I saw these kids during a recess, and I brought my 5-year-old, he was 5 at the time, he's 7 now, but I brought Balin with me, he was 5, and I saw these kids playing with rocks for toys.
Yeah.
And then they also had this soccer ball that was like half inflated. But the level of joy I saw on their face, like more joy than the kids here in America. I was like, dang, these kids have more than me. I'm sorry, they have less than me, but they're so much more joyful than maybe I am. Yeah. And so I think it's like people understanding like the opportunity that we have. I think if people can grasp that concept, what you just said, like the alternative, it's like, dude, then you really would realize like, wait, I haven't, like, where else can you go, knock doors and generate 10 grand out of thin air?
Yeah.
Doesn't exist anywhere right now.
Yeah.
And so I love that principle you've said. And to even go deeper on that, I mean, what would you say to the current state of the industry, right? So at the, this recording right now, it's, I don't know, July 23rd or something, 2025. Let's just say end of June, 2025.
Yeah.
Right now we're in the whole big, beautiful bill. And right now there's a lot of chaos and kind of uncertainty in the industry. People freaking out, similar to an NEM2 to NEM3 transition, maybe worse. But what would you say to that? Like, what are some things you're doing to kind of, not let that turn to fear or scarcity or doubt?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think just having good leaders to follow, and you've been a great example of that, John, just like leading us and being kind of the voice of reason. Because, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, when it first happened, I was getting lots of people freaking out and people that knew a lot more than I did that were kind of like, doom and gloom and all that. And so, you've helped me understand a lot of things and still, like, you have a belief that things are going to be all right and things will work out. And so, yeah, I mean, we'll see. But I think at the end of the day, it's just like remembering all the things that we have gone through, right? And this, you've talked with this about too. Like, we got through NEM2 to NEM3 in California. I've got through multiple companies not paying me commissions and still come out on the other side. So if you can be okay with whatever the worst case scenario is, and this is something I've heard from some, mentors, people I follow too, is just being okay with whatever the worst case scenario is. Because if you're okay with that, then you can kind of have peace to like maybe take more risks and, just have a mind more at ease. Because you think about the worst case scenario, if solar, let's say it just becomes terrible, and then like I got family in Utah, my in-laws, they got a whole basement we could go live in, worst case scenario. Like I wouldn't want to do it, and that's why, luckily in our country, people can go. There's entrepreneurs that are super successful, that have literally had bankruptcies, that their companies have failed. Russell Brunson, this guy I follow, I think he says almost every super successful entrepreneur has had, it's like an average of 2 or 3 failed like business ventures or something like that before they found something that really took off. And luckily, we live in a country where it's designed, even if things go badly, that we can rebound from that. Yeah. Right. Bankruptcy, you can literally pretty much, it's not going to be easy. I'm sure I've never gone through one, luckily, but you can essentially like erase everything that happened and start over. Yeah. And like it's designed for that. Yeah. So yeah, I don't want that to happen, but I just think of, okay, well, worst case scenario, like we can figure something out. We've all got the skills to go sell something. So I think solar will still be good, but even if it's not, it's like there's so many things out there to sell, right? And there's so many opportunities for us. Yeah. So I think that's what people should remember if they're listening to this podcast. They're fearful or uncertainty. It's like, well, you have the ability to sell. Just remember that. We have the ability to rebound. Whatever happens, we can figure out something to sell. And but yeah, I think we got great leaders here. And I would say just make sure you're at a place where you got leaders that have a plan, that are speaking vision to you. Because if you have that, then it's been much easier for us over here to have the confidence.
Have you ever heard of? I hope I'm saying it right, but I think it's called the Stockdale Principle, or I think Stockton. That's your son's name. Stockton. Yeah, I think it's the Stockdale, something like that principle. Anyways, but it's a principle that I heard years ago and it stuck with me. And essentially, it's as a leader, when you lead through crisis, you can't be too up in the clouds, meaning optimistic and like faith and like it's gonna be okay, right? Because then people they're like, dude, you're naive. People then they view you as naive. But then you can't be too much in the dirt, right? Where you're like doom and gloom, like this is hard, it's over, right? Yeah. And the principle is about, as a leader, you got to be real and be like, yeah, this sucks. Yeah, there's going to be change. Yeah, we're going to have to massively pivot. Yeah. And it's going to be hard and it's going to suck for a bit. However, it's going to be great. We're going to get through it. We're going to make the most amount of money we've ever made, right? And so I think as a leader, and I hope the industry as a whole, I think as a collective, we can be more like that. Yeah. We can be more like, let's be real. Like I'm not saying the big, beautiful bill is not like, oh, it's okay, right? Like I get it. It sucks. But also another principle I've lived by is winners cry for 6 seconds. Losers cry for 6 years.
That's good.
It's like, which one do you want to be? Yeah. Like they both cry. They both feel something, like cool. Winners maybe feel fear for a few seconds, while losers feel it for months and months and months and months, right? Yeah. And so it's like, again, that they both feel it. They both cry about it. They both have doubt. But the difference is one feels it and moves on.
Yeah.
And then the other one feels it and like stays stuck in there. And it's like, which one do you want to be? And like, yeah, I've already processed, like you said, worst case scenario. And I'm like, all right, worst case scenario, I already know it. Cool. I felt it. I processed it.
Yeah.
Great. Let's do everything in my power to make sure it's not the case.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. And also fear is like false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
Right. That's like the acronym for fear. And it's like a lot of the stuff that we're hearing, it's like, okay, none of it has happened yet.
Right.
You know, like you said, cool. If we get to a place where like solar, literally we're getting $0 EPCs. Okay, cool. Maybe it's like time for a big change. Right. But that hasn't happened yet. But yeah, people are already like, it's dead. It's like, dude, chill. There's many things in your life that you thought were going to take you out.
Yeah.
And yet you're still here. And that's what I love about your story is that you've been through a lot of adversity, a lot of challenges, and yet you're still here.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you too, like, how do you navigate all that as a married man? Like one aspect of you that I love is that you're consistent on the doors, you're a leader, you're a builder of people, right? You've navigated many crises, but also you're responsible for your wife, you're responsible for your 3 kids, which by the way, fun fact, Taylor has named all his kids after Utah Jazz players. So that shows you how big of a Utah Jazz fan he is. So hey, if you're the Utah Jazz owner, is it Ryan Smith?
Yeah,
Ryan Smith. Come on,
Hopefully
dude.
Listen to the
podcast. He named his kids after your team. So, dude, how have you navigated through? How do you navigate all this while also being a present husband, like also being a present father? I think a lot of the successful people in solar or door to door, they're also married, and I think that's maybe wisdom that they want to know is like, how do you balance it all, right? How do you still crush it at work, but also crush it in the marriage, crush it as a father? How do you do all that?
Yeah, well, it's a tough question. I've learned a lot from you on this, John, but I'm still figuring it out. So I would say I have some small things that have helped, but yeah, there's still times where my wife's like, "Oh man, this is like so hard that you're gone every night, this and that." So I'm definitely not like the perfect, have all the solutions for this and still figuring things out. But I would say just some things that have helped for sure is just time blocking, just having the date nights. I know you're big on this too, John. Just having like one night a week, you do the date nights. And yeah, I feel like I have improved this year for sure because I think even last year is a big problem, just separating the work when I got home, just still like constantly being on the phone, be like, oh, this customer needs this, even when I'm home after appointments. And I'm just still being buried in that. So I have made improvement. That's a big one. Just, try to like whenever you get home, just separate it a little bit, especially when we have kids. It's like try to be present for them, show up, put the phone down. So those are things that I'm actively trying to improve on, and definitely not perfect. But I think those are 2 huge ones. Just setting out time. At least if it's minimum 1 time a week, block it off. We get the babysitter. We go out, have the 1 time a week date night. And then just trying to, all day Sundays, like I never take an appointment on Sunday. I'm not going to appointments. I'm trying to be fully present Sundays, church, family. So those are, I would say, kind of the 2 non-negotiables, just the date night and then Sundays, just try to be as present as possible. But other than that, I'm still learning. But open to suggestions and just try to.
Dude, it sounds like you just make time. I think that's the difference. You know? You make time. You don't look for time. You make it.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, no, like if this has to suffer a little bit, cool. It's because at the end of the day, that those are the things that are most important.
Yeah, and there's seasons too. Like right now as we're recording this, we've got all this urgency with the bill passing. So I've already had the discussion with my wife. She knows it. It's like, hey, it's probably gonna have to take. We're going to like shift this a little bit. It's going to be a little bit more of the focus because after who knows what's going to happen, but we want to take full advantage of this. So I think it's just having conversations and being like, because we're all, going on blitzes. There's going to be seasons, times where we're working harder. Yeah. So I think it's about having those conversations and getting on the same page. Hey, look, like this season, this competition, we have a lot of big competitions at Legacy. Yeah. And then just talking before, hey, it's going to look a little bit different. But after that, we're going to go.
Well, I love that. I mean, it sounds like you include your wife in your job. I think sometimes men think they have to separate the 2. Yeah. And it's like, cool, this is work and then this is marriage. But it sounds like you've blended it and you've let her into your life. Yeah. She understands because then when you do that, she supports you better. Because I've had the same conversation with Josie. I told her, babe, the next 6 to 18 months they're going to be pretty hectic. Like, I just want to be real with you. And she's like, cool, hey, I'm on board. Whatever I got to do to support you. And so she knows that. I know that. And so where I think some men, they try to carry that. And they're like, well, if I let my wife know, she'll freak out or she won't understand me or whatever. It's like, no, dude, like let her in. She's your partner. She's your helpmate.
Yeah.
And so I love that. And I'm shout out to Natalie.
Yeah.
Love you, Natalie.
No, she's the best.
Yeah. And so, dude, Taylor, it's crazy, man. It's already been like almost 40 minutes since we started.
Time flies.
Yeah, time flies. But dude, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast.
Yeah.
You are a wealth of wisdom, man. Thank you again. I want to honor you for the value you've added to the industry as a whole. If people wanted to kind of connect with you online, or just in general, what's the best way they can do it?
Yeah, definitely shoot me a follow. Solarpreneur podcast. We're on Instagram. I'm on Instagram, Taylor J. Armstrong. So I would say that's probably the easiest place. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. So, and then of course, follow your podcast, Valor Impact. Follow mine first. You can go follow this one after. We want to keep a slight lead, but
you have probably 100x the amount of videos I have. So, well, great. Well, hey, thank you again, Taylor, for hopping on today, man. You're a wealth of wisdom, and thank you for sharing all your insights. And thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode. And remember that your best self is always found on the other side of doing hard things. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye.